So here we have it, y'all. This is our big stainless steel bowl full of turkey necks. So that's what I mean. See this fat? I'm not gonna go and try to pull everything off of them, but hey, like this has to go.
Here's Kisha's Crumbs.
Welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days, but I have taken a well-needed break and rest, but not for too long, right? We got to get these videos out. The holiday season is upon us, and I want to do everything I can to help you feel more comfortable with cooking in the kitchen. Again, we know that there are millions and millions and millions of recipes online, so you don't need me to give you a recipe. What you do need me to share, maybe, some of you maybe, some of you maybe not, but hey, sharing is caring. So either way, I would ask that you please receive it. Kitchen Principalities. Basic kitchen principles that you can utilize in anyone's recipe, your own or even one you found online, that will help you feel more confident in your cooking. And 9 times out of 10, if the cooking principality is applied properly, proper preparation prevents poor performance. If the kitchen principality is applied properly, I can rest assure you that you will come out with an even better tasting dish. Okay, so there are a million ways to do a million things, right? Today I'm going to share with you this little segment on I'm doing a low country boil. In the South, we refer to a low country boil as something where you have some form of meat and several forms of vegetables in a really tasty, savory broth, where the broth, the pot liquor as we refer to it, is just as tasty as the contents of that pot itself. So the secret to a great tasting low country boil, let me tell it here at Kisha's Crumbs, catch this crumb, is that broth needs to be off the chain. And by that I mean you need to put, it's just like a gumbo, you need to put attention to that broth. You need to really layer in flavors, layer in seasonings, incorporate different flavors in any way that you can. And as I've always told you, seasonings don't come just by way of shake out of a bottle, even though you can get your ooh-wee KG, baby, and it's going to bring everything up higher to another level. However, seasoning don't come just in the form of seasoning. Seasoning also comes in the form of fats. You get fat from butter, you get fat from duck fat, you know, different types of butters and oils. Seasoning also comes from your veggies, your trinity, hallelujah, onion, bell pepper, celery. Seasoning even comes from the amount of time and the temperature in which you cook something, right? Because most meats, for example, have some form of fat on it. Just say, for example, right now I'm making a homemade chicken broth, and I was just thinking, looking at my pot like, most people just put the bones of the chicken when they're making broth. Baby, I'm going to put the skin in there. I'm going to leave the gristle. Anything that has a flavor component, you can believe it's going in this stock pot. And the little tail off the chicken, that little fatty tail, oh yes, honey. That is flavor. It's going in the stock pot. But even the amount of time that you cook something, because if a meat has a skin or a fat component to it, the way you cook that meat determines the way that fat and the flavor from that fat will be rendered. And fat is flavor when it's cooked the right way. Oh my God, I'm getting excited, y'all. It's about to be Thanksgiving. It is November. Today is the 2nd day of November. I'm not sure when this actual video will get released, but today is November 2nd. I am uber excited because guess what, y'all? This is my birthday month. Your girl is born on 1122. Okay, can't forget it. 1122, November the 22nd. That's me. A tad bit Scorpio. A tad bit Sagittarius. I'm on what you call the cusp, okay? So, you know, there's no telling what you may get. But I'm wearing green all month. I have to tell y'all about that later. You'll be seeing me a lot this month. This is my birthday month. What I'm doing this weekend, I have 2 things to get prepared for. No, I'm not. taking in any more work of the rest of the month. Do you understand me? Because it's going to be about me, and I love to cook, so that means that it's going to be about you too here at Kisha's Crumbs. But I'm wearing the color green for some reason. Green has just been attracted to me, and I've been attracted to it. I think it was ever since I did my professional photo shoot for my business, and I had on green, and I just never saw myself look so illustrious, right? You see this shirt, a tad bit sweet, a tad bit salty, available as your Kisha's Confections merchandise. If you all want to order, just look in the descriptions box or go to iwantkonfections.com. But red has always been my favorite color. And the reason is because even when I was a little kid in school, my teacher, when my mom would dress me in red, my teacher would always say, "Oh, Kisha, you look so pretty today. I love that red on you." And that stuck with me, right? The happy and joyous impressions that people make on us as children, we remember that. And then I remember that even as I got older, people would always comment on how beautiful I looked in red. So red has always been my favorite color, still is my favorite color. And I'm only sharing this with y'all because this is Kisha's Crumbs, right? This is personal to me. And here at Kisha's Crumbs, I'm telling you, something happened. There was a transition when I finally went in for my professional photo shoot. And I just decided that I wanted to wear this green, simple, plain, nothing sexy about it. It's like, it's the type of dress where you have to carry that confidence and that oomph, that zhuzh, as I like to put it, for that dress to be beautiful. And it's just a long, straight, button down, emerald, I will more or less call it apple green dress. Because it's vibrant. It doesn't have gem tones, so it's not emerald, but it's vibrant, it's lively, right? It just reminds you of life. And I knew that I liked wearing the dress, but I didn't know how attracted I was to the dress or how attractive the dress made me. You heard me. So when I took the picture and the photographer sent me those images, I looked at myself and I said, ooh, we KG. Girl, you look good in that green dress. And so ever since, I have had a different eye for green. And then I realized that when I would see the color green, it spoke to me. It resonated with me in some way, shape, or form. I didn't know why, but I said, Lord, you're trying to tell me something about this color. You're trying to tell me something about this color. Now I realize a lot of other people love green. My best friend, his favorite colors are green and blue, primarily green. So I know a lot of people love green, but y'all, I have never been attracted to any other color but red. But all of a sudden, I was drawn to this color, and I knew it was something spiritual. I still don't know today everything that it is, but I will share with you that it's been so strong since my photo shoot, which was several months ago, earlier this year. I said, green. So when we drew closer to my birthday month, which is this month, November, I decided, it just went off like a light bulb. I said, I'm wearing green every day. Some form of green every day in the month of my birth. Sweet November. Tell me a story. Hey, you understand me? So today I'm in here cooking. I have a little, we got to get our hands dirty, but in this case, it's going to be these gloves. I am about my gloves. But I decided to put on my little buddy, Gracie. Her name is Gracie. I'm originally from Louisiana, where we have all of the alligators and the alligator meat, honey. Oh yes, oh yes. So somebody who designed her may have thought crocodile. I don't know what they were thinking, but they served a purpose today. They served a purpose for me this month during 2022 because Gracie represents grace. She is the color green. She represents grace. And so now I realize I'm wearing the color green every day this month because green represents grace. That's what it's going to represent to me. I have been blessed with so much grace. When I look back at all that I've come through, when I look back at the storms that I have marched myself through, dusting myself off, the times that I was knocked down, talked about, ridiculed, lied to, lied on, stolen from, cheated on, all of that good stuff, honey, I rose, still I rise, Maya Angelou, I rose. but I didn't do it on my own. I was able to do it because God has given me grace. And so this month, during the month of November, every time you see me, you will see me in some form or some shade of green. And here I have purchased my alligator, my Louisiana alligator friend, Gracie, to remind me of what the color green represents. Now, she may not appear very green on the camera, but I can assure you, as a matter of fact, I will insert a still shot above so that you can see that her stones throughout are a rich, beautiful emerald color green. And so I have on my tab bit. Y'all know I got to represent with the merch. And then I also have on my emerald green pant, honey. I have on my emerald green pant. This is from the Glamorous Boutique in Monroe, Louisiana. I went home this weekend, so I snatched me a few extra pair. And she had this army green, and I said, oh yes, it's sweet November, oh yes. So I'm decked out in grace and green. All right, y'all, let's get down to it. Guess what we're doing today? Today, I'm going to show you how I clean my turkey necks, okay? How I clean my turkey necks. I will not fool you. I go extra effort and extra mile to clean all of my meats these days, because you can see when the chicken wings are coming from the store with feathers on them. To me, that I don't want to say negligence, but you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, thank goodness a feather is something you can see, and it says, hey, you need to pay extra special attention to this. Restaurants that fry wings with the feathers still in them, no thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because if the factory didn't pay extra special attention, you should have before you seasoned and fried that mug up and served it to me. No thank you. So these days, I try to take extra special attention when it comes to meat products and any product for that reason, because it's a trying time, y'all. I'm going to say it like that. I don't want to get all religious, but I'll say it's a trying time. And we just need to move. We need to be confident, but we need to move with caution in everything that we do. So even in the way that I clean my meat, it doesn't take long. It's easy. And what you will find is that the meat tastes even better when you cook it up. You know, kosher meat, and you can look into it further, but basically kosher style meats are meats that go through a special process to remove the blood from the animal before it is prepped and packaged for consumption. That's what kosher food preparation and meat preparation is all about. So this process reminds me of kosher, right? Because the first thing, you won't see me do it here today because I've done it yesterday. And this just shows how, I mean, it can take me 3-4 days just to prep meat. We're not all the same. We don't all work the same. Not to say one person's better than the other, but don't assume because one person does something one way that another person is doing the same thing. That's why your costs are different as well. You know, something like this, it takes me, I'll take 2 to 3 days just to prep it before I ever put fire to it. So I said that because I have already soaked this meat. These are turkey necks, y'all. A low country boil has meat, veggies, and a very beautiful, delicious stock. And most times you will see in the South, we use turkey necks, which is from the turkey. We use neck bones, pork neck bones from a pig. We also use, and you'll see some people use chicken. I mean, you could do it with wings and things like that. But a low country boil either normally has seafood with sausage, corn, and potato, turkey with sausage, corn, and potato, or some form of pork with sausage, corn, and potato. Today, we are cleaning turkey necks. I've already soaked these turkey necks in a vinegar salt bath, right? So that pulls some of the gaminess out of the turkey. It also, I almost want to tell you, like, you know, if you think of skin having pores in it and how you can do things to open up your pores, and that means your pores will be more receptive to whatever you're putting on it or pouring on it. Is going to, you know, be more receptive to take that next ingredient in. So doing a vinegar salt bath kind of opens that meat up, helps drain all that blood out, and helps prepare that meat for seasoning that will more deeply penetrate the meat. right? So this multifunction, baby, I love to do something and it is multi-purpose. It has dual effectiveness. So when you soak your meat, remember you can do this to poultry. When you soak your turkey necks, your chicken wings, get you a tub of water, a big bowl of water, put some kosher salt, iodine salt, whatever you have, rock salt, put it in there and put you a couple of capfuls of either white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, whatever. You don't want your meat to taste vinegary, so you don't overdo it, but just enough to just, give that water some acidity to draw out all this extra nastiness that may not have been done at the plant. I've already done that part, right? I've already done that. Now what I'm about to do is just take a knife and kind of skim over the necks to remove some of the fat. Back in the day, turkey necks didn't have as much fat as they do now. I don't know what the deal is with it, but hey, when I see the fat, I want to clean it. So that's what I do. So let me show you what we're working with. So here we have it, y'all. This is our big stainless steel bowl full of turkey necks. So that's what I mean. See this fat? I'm not going to go and try to pull everything off of them, but like this has to go. Again, this meat, these necks have already been soaked in basically like a brine. There are different forms of brines. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, approaching the holidays. But anything with a salt and acidic element to it is considered a brine. So these were soaked in water with salt and white vinegar. So they're even cleaner now than what you would have seen if I would have just rinsed it out of the package. We don't just rinse it out of the package, okay? So you're going to walk with me and catch these crumbs as you see me just go through and pull. I'll probably use a little knife or something and just pull off the excess, right? This is some good meat. This is some good eating. I know a lot of you who probably don't eat turkey necks are like, what? And I'm not going to try to convince you. But, of course, I do want to educate you along the way to let you know, hey, an animal is an animal. If you eat turkey breast, then you can't judge a person who eats turkey necks, right? It's just that our elders and our ancestors ate the, what was considered not the prime parts of the animal. So because it had so much bone in it, but at the same time, baby, God was blessing us because where you have bones, you also have flavor. So while the other people may have been sitting and eating the prime portion of the turkey being the breast or the breast fillet, and they threw the scraps to our ancestors and told us to have it, and baby, this is some good eating, y'all. And I will assure you, we're going to add a little water to this, and I will assure you that when you see this pot brewing, when it's all said and done, you're going to say, oh, wait, KG. You're going to wish you had some of these crumbs. We'll be right back. All right, y'all. So here we are with our necks here. I just put a little water down in the tub. Again, these have been soaked in a vinegar and salt bath already. And then as we remove the excess fat, we're going to put them into this pan. Okay, so let me just show you. For a little bit, you can see what it is I'm going to do. So I use a knife. Get up under the membrane and pull it back like that. We just really want the big chunky parts off of there. Okay. We'll give it a little rinse because we've already soaked it, and we're going to throw it over in the pan. Okay. Again, I'm going to tell you about the secrets of making these tender and everything, y'all. But part of it is what we just talked about. The vinegar bath is going to help not only clean them, but also make the meat more tender and more ready to receive our seasonings. And then when we throw it in the pot with all of that broth, see how it's putting out a little blood excess. You can run your knife right under that skin like that. And so see, this type of preparation takes time, right? It takes time, honey. It takes time. what I like to do. Once again, this is why, you know, I don't take in too much, because I know that with the calling for my business and everything that will come from it, I'm supposed to stick really, really close as possible to the way our ancestors did things. And so that means it takes time. Okay? And that's just a little skin, nothing to be afraid of. That's not a vein or anything. That's just skin that's attached to the neck. So this is what I'm doing. Going through here, pulling off all of the excess. Rinsing it. And we're going to go through each neck. And do the same process. Trying to make sure I stay in the camera for y'all. I've been doing this a long while, so it doesn't take me too long. So I want to make sure I stay in the frame for y'all and just let y'all see what it is that I'm doing. It's how I would call it skimming. You know, trimming the fat from something is almost completely removing it. I would call this skimming the neck, skimming the fat from the necks. Baby, you smother these necks down in some gravy. I remember one time I did them, just honestly I did them because it was what I had a taste for. And then people kept asking me, what are you cooking today? What are you cooking today? And I said turkey necks. You know, some people just don't, like I said, this is considered a more inexpensive portion of the meat. A lot of people just don't eat what they're not used to. If they didn't grow up with grandparents that ate it, they're not going to eat it. Or, you know, it may be their lifestyle, whatever their reason is, that they just don't eat parts like this anymore. But baby, I'm telling y'all, this is some good eating. Again, not trying to convince you of what you should or shouldn't be eating, but trying to help you understand so that you won't judge people who do. And then I was just having a discussion with my friend girl. She's from a part of Louisiana that is considered more south. And she loves different parts of the, you know, pork or whatever. We try to eat it sparingly. And we were talking about how so much of, you know, what our ancestors ate and our grandparents ate that was considered cheap meat and cheap cuts has now become delicatessen. Because once a certain population of people start you know, partaking in that same type of food item, then all of a sudden it's not, you know, a bad thing to eat anymore, and it becomes expensive because more people want it, more people are purchasing it. And she brought up neck bones, and she loves neck bones. But now, you know, you used to could get neck bones for pretty cheap. But now that different people are eating them, more than just African Americans are eating them, then the price has gone up. A lot of what was considered scraps that our ancestors were fed, and a lot of us still like to partake in, baby, is now delicatessen. Because you have certain populations of people eating it. It's no different than hog head cheese, also known as South, you know. But then now you go in these high-priced restaurants, these 4- or 5-star restaurants, and you know they'll put pork belly on anything, and the price is raised 20 and 30%. If it's a burger with pork belly, it might be some sort of an egg scramble. I've been to restaurants that had egg benedict with pork belly in it. It's mostly fat. It's the underbelly of the pig, right? But the reality is, it is full of flavor. It is full of flavor, honey. So I'm happy that people are starting to catch on and understand. Now, Now these may look like they're troublesome to eat. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want all those bones and this and that. But if they're cooked right and they're super tender, those bones won't bother you one bit. Because once you put it in your mouth, the meat is going to melt away from the bone and in your mouth, honey. Oh yes, oh yes. So I hope you're able to catch these crumbs and see how I'm just, again, skimming some of the extra fat off of these turkey necks and getting them to go from that to this. Okay.
All right, y'all. So I just want to be right now. Don't get grossed out by this, okay? Don't get grossed out. This is just the extra fat and little veins and stuff off the neck. So, but I want you to see how much I cleaned off. So when people eat certain stuff and they be like,
it look good, but it just is somewhere right. They don't know how to explain it. You know, sometimes it's just the cleaning process is not copacetic. Now, I mean, you know.
I'm not saying that it's not clean if you don't have this removed, but just imagine how much more flavorful your necks will be when you take the time out. It took me about 40 minutes to remove all the extra fat. You have a little gelatinous lining on some of your necks and stuff like that. I just took all that off. Just have to keep it real with y'all, because this, I cook old school, baby. I cook old school, so you might think that's gross, but if you eating, whether you eating a steak, a chicken breast, or whatever, everything you eat has to be processed.
Let me tell you, it's better for you to know what you're eating than to not know. That's the beauty of preparing your food at home, okay? So don't be grossed out. Stay tuned. You might have to cover your eyes a little bit. We just got over Halloween, so just cover your eyes. If you feel a little distraught, a little queasy, just cover your eyes, but don't miss this crumb. Don't turn the channel. Don't skip through. You know what I'm saying? Leave your ears open. You can close your eyes, but leave your ears open. Okay? So it's just the beauty of cleaning it, cleaned off right there. That is what we cleaned out, honey. And now, here are our necks that have been all cleaned and ready to be seasoned. Okay, so at this point we have soaked these necks. First step is we rinse them. When they came from the grocery store, my son, thank you Josiah, look at Gracie, my son rinsed them and soaked them in a salt vinegar water bath. I do that to all of my poultry, and it seems like it wouldn't be appropriate for beef, but guess what, y'all, I do it to my steaks too. We want to eat good. We want to enjoy our food, and because I deal with food all the time in the raw form, then I know what can possibly be there. That's why it's so wonderful to be able to eat your own home cooked food, because you know what you're working with. Somebody brings something to you at a table, and it might look beautiful by the time it gets you to the table, but you still don't know what extra precautions were taken, what extra measures were taken. You just never know, not to scare you, but this is just the reality. And this is what our ancestors did. This is what our grandmothers and grandfathers did. They grew their own food. See, that's another step. Now, I wish I knew more about growing. I need to get me a garden box back there in the yard so I can grow my own produce and things like that. That's what we need to get back to with the way times are going. But at least, even though I may not have grown this turkey, I may not have reared this turkey. When I eat a steak, I may not have reared that cow. But at least when I get it home, I know I'm smart enough to know I shouldn't take it straight out the package, rinse it off a little bit with some water, and keep it kicking, talking about the fire is going to kill all the germs. Let me take a little extra precaution. I want to enjoy it. And again, not to say that something is wrong with it, but I can assure you when you take a few extra steps, it's going to taste better, right? That seasoning and the flavor, that broth does not have to work through all the extra gook that was on the necks before I took the step to clean them. So now we're going to step 3, right? We soaked them. We rinsed them and soaked them in a brine bath. Now we just removed the extra skim, the fat, and the gelatinous bits from the necks. And now marinate and season these jokers.
Okay.
After I share that with y'all, that's going to be the end of this segment. And then we'll come back for a second segment and I'll show you how I actually put this low country boil together. I'm just going to slide on around to show y'all how we get started. And I always start with my seasonings that have the salt content. I always start with it first because I don't want to overdo it. I want to be able to actually see my meat. Kitchen Principality, if I have seasoning with salt in it, I want to be able to see how it looks on this meat so that it can help me judge whether I use too much or not enough. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're actually going to, in a low country boil, normally you would throw everything in a crock pot, or the things that are going to take the longest to cook, like your meats, you would put in a crock pot. And then later on, you would add things like your potatoes. Later on, you add your corn. You layer in the ingredients based on the cook time for each ingredient. Of course, your meat is always going to take the longest, so you start out with your meat. What I'm going to do, because I don't even have my stock pot, I would probably normally prepare these in my big tamale pot. But I don't have it with me. But even if I did, I think I would still choose to put these in the oven. The reason why I'm going to put them in the oven is because sometimes a stock pot, because they're so thin, unless you have a really, really heavy thermal stock pot, it just seems to me that, you know, you can boil something forever and it doesn't really do much for tenderizing the meat, because stock pots aren't really thermal. Stock pots are called stock pots just for that reason. It's mainly used to create a stock, which is boiling, you know, cooking a liquid. It's not built to tenderize and hold pressure in and hold in heat, all of the things that will make your meat taste more flavorful and make your meat more tender. A stock pot is not built for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate that same cooking principle by putting them in the oven. As you can see, I have plenty of room here in this aluminum roaster, and I don't have them piled on top of each other. I can pretty much put them in one even layer, and they're able to cook evenly that way. I'm going to cover it really tightly, really securely with foil, and I'm going to make sure, that's why I'm glad and I don't mind that water being at the bottom of this pan, because I want them to kind of steam. I don't want them to bake and get, you know, for the meat to firm up like it would if I were baking the turkey necks. I want them to steam. So I'll probably add even more liquid. As a matter of fact, what I've done is, and I'm going to show you in just a sec, I've started on a homemade chicken broth, and I'm basically going to put these in the oven, cooking them inside the chicken broth. So by the time I pour the homemade flavorful chicken broth that's been made from chicken bones and chicken skin, all that flavor that has rendered from that broth, I'm going to pour some of that over these necks and cover it tightly, put it in the oven. And so it's going to mimic as though I were boiling the necks in a pot that was thermal. Okay, that's what I'm going to do to get these started. We're only going to par cook them. I don't want to rush them. You know, you have to be careful with turkey because you could dry them out. But and I don't want to do that, and I also don't want to rush them, because when you rush them, then you don't have a lot of flavor in the meat. The flavor doesn't have the opportunity to sink down to the bone. So I don't want to rush these. So I'm going to par cook them today, let them cool completely, refrigerate them, and then on the day prior to them being served, I'm going to put all of the ingredients together to create that low country boil and let it all cook together, honey. Okay, we're gonna have that corn, we're gonna have that potato, we're gonna have them sausages, and we're gonna have them scrimps is what we're gonna have. Okay, I'm telling you, it might look a little gruesome now, but hey, that's why people pay me to do the hard work, right? But baby, when it's time to eat, it's gonna be time to eat. All right, y'all, so here is our broth. Just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of how rich and beautiful this broth is. You see the color of it. And as I stated earlier, you know, I keep the skin, the bones, everything. The bits of meat is coming off, but I boil it all because you have flavor that actually comes from that skin. And what I'll do is I'll drain this broth off of these bones and throw the bone, the skin, and all it out. And I'm just going to keep behind this beautiful broth. So when y'all have your turkey bones or chicken bones and things like that, I mean, it's just a matter of putting it on the stove. It seems like it's hard to do, but once you freeze your chicken or your turkey bits in a Ziploc bag, write what it is, write, you know, bones for broth and the date, the month and year on the bag, freeze it, and then when you get ready for a stock, like how I need a stock today, this homemade broth is gonna add so much more flavor to that low country boil than had I just used broth from a box or a can. Okay, so that's what simple down home cooking is all about. It's simple ingredients, but the love is in the preparation. Love's in the time that you take to actually prepare. So this is my broth, y'all. Okay, so when we come back for the second segment, you will get to see how we put all of this together. All right, see y'all soon. Thank you for tuning in to Kisha's Crumbs. Today you watched us clean some turkey necks for a low country boil. Tomorrow you'll see us assemble it. See you soon.
Nobody's perfect. Hard colder than ever, nobody's worth it. I got a chip on my shoulder, size of a Birkin. But now I'm back in my bag, back in my zone, my G, back on my search shit. Ready or not, here we come, we the chosen ones, me and